All right. With the regular meeting of the Edgecombe County Board of Education, February the 13th, 2023, please come to order. Please note that the public may view this board meeting via the link provided. Please join me, if you will, as we stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the purpose, please remain standing, if you will, as we bow in a moment of silent meditation for one of our former employees, former coach, athletic director, teacher, just a good person in our county, the passing of Mr. Jimmy Tillman, who passed on yesterday. Moment of silence for him. You may be seated. Jimmy served about 30-some years here in various capacities. Happy pre-Valentine's Day to those whom I will not see tomorrow. Please share whatever it is that you put it up here that you're going to get. We'll take that. Item number 2.1, Employee of the Month, Mrs. Hoke.
Good evening, Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the Board, Superintendent Dr. Bridges. I'm excited to announce our Employee of the Month for February. Caitlin Webb is the data manager at G.W. Bullock Elementary School. Last fall, Ms. Webb volunteered to take on recruiting and securing substitute teachers daily, consistently ensuring there is a coverage plan in place to minimize the burden placed on teachers and teacher assistants. She asked to take on this role as she recognized how important substitute proactive planning is to the staff culture. As a result, her work has really changed the feel of the building in visible ways. According to Principal Altimos, the students and families love Mrs. Webb. She's eager to jump in when she sees a student having a hard time, and she happily agrees to be the check-in person for a student who needs a little extra support during the school day. Ms. Webb works hard to ensure that all students and staff are taken care of at Bullock Elementary. Congratulations to the February ECPS Employee of the Month, Caitlin Webb.
Congratulations. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite Jenny Moorbutter and Sheriff Clee Atkinson with United Way Targeted Region to the podium.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
I'm Sheriff Clee Atkinson, United Way Board member and Community Campaign Co-Chair. It is indeed a pleasure for me, along with Jenny Moorbutter, Executive Director, to join you this evening. On behalf of our Board of Directors and the thousands we serve throughout the Twin County region, we want to thank Edgecombe County Public Schools for a great and unique 2022 campaign. And we look forward to recognizing schools and departments that have displayed great support through United Way. United Way is a proud partner with the Edgecombe County Public Schools. United Way works in all towns and communities across the Twin Counties. Through United Way donations, we are able to fund 36 local health and human services programs in partnership with 25 nonprofit agencies, as well as assist with hundreds of yearly information, referral, and volunteer inquiries. This support helps thousands of local citizens each year, improving quality of life for our children, adults, and families. We thank you, Dr. B. Dr. Valerie Bridges, I'm sorry, I just talked to her in a personal level all the time. That shows you the partnership, so I apologize. for your leadership. Reverend Raymond Privet, thank you, sir. Board of Education Chair and all of you board members that sit here as well. And also as well as Susan Hoke for her coordination of the campaign through Central Services. We also thank the local school coordinators and the numerous employees across the district who gave to United Way. We're excited to appreciate the employees of Edgecombe County Public Schools for a total contribution of $7,928. In the last 15 years, the Edgecombe County School District has contributed over $145,000. So thank you guys. So at this time, we will recognize our award-winning schools and departments. We ask that the campaign leader and or the school principal please come forward as we call your school or department. Special recognition awards go to the schools attaining the highest total contribution per classification. For elementary schools, campaign leader Renell Phipps, Princeville Elementary School, raising a total of $920.
Don't do it all together. Okay, so she just stands here by herself.
I like that. That was good. For middle special schools, leader Janelle Faulkner, South Edgecombe Middle School, raising a total of $1,743. For high schools, ECPS Early College High School, campaign leader Gerald Williams, raising a total of $740. For Department Central Services, campaign leader Susan Hoke, raising a total of $385.
And then, can you get a picture real quick? Can you do-
Yes, ma'am.
You good?
Thank you.
We would also like to recognize other schools and departments for their support of United Way. GW Carver Elementary School, campaign leader Teresa Letchworth. GW Bullock Elementary School, campaign leader Cheryl Parker. Dr. Bridges, it's kind of fun standing here.
Have a position open, you know that.
That's right. I'm holding too many as we speak. Go to Wembley Elementary School, campaign leader Kamika Graham. Stotts Elementary School, campaign leader Nakia Hyland. Martin Millennium Academy, campaign leader Brandy Chapel. I know that's right. Phillips Middle School, campaign leader Amanda Miller.
Dedication.
Like that. That man to come to work with one leg, you gotta. I need him at the Edgecombe Sheriff's Office. I know that's right. South Edgecombe Middle School, campaign leader Michelle Lynn. WA Patillo Middle School campaign leader Julius Parker. West Edgecombe Middle School campaign leader Amy Bullock. North Edgecombe High School campaign leader Amy Berger. Barbara High School campaign leader Zachary Parisher. Child Nutrition Department campaign leader Ruth McDowell. Finally, once again, we'd like to thank Dr. Valerie Bridges, Superintendent. Thank you always, ma'am. Board of Education members, Miss Susan Hoke. Thank you, ma'am. Always smiling. All of our school and departmental campaign coordinators. Thank you guys so much. All the high school principals, middle school, elementary school principals, departmental leaders, all the employees who donated to United Way. We want to say thank you, guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your time this evening. Have a good night. We're going to take a group picture. Thank you, guys. Give us a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Look around behind your house. Get up. No. Get up with my superintendent.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you. How many people can we step up there? Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Thank you. Item number 3 on the agenda, public comments. I hold the sheet. There are no signees, and so we move from there to item number 4, the approval of the agenda. You have received the agenda, board members. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, or questions? Hearing none, do we hear a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we accept the agenda as printed for our February 13th meeting.
Second.
Motion and second for the approval of the February 13th, 2023 Board of Education agenda. You've heard that motion and second. And further discussion, questions, or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Item number 5, approval of the open session minutes. You have received the January 9th, 2023 open session minutes of the Board of Education of Edgecombe. Having seen them and perused them, are there any corrections, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, we have a motion to accept that those minutes as approved, as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we approve our January 9th, 2023 open session minutes.
Second.
Motion and second for the approval of the open session minutes of the board meeting of January 9th, 2023. You've heard that motion and second. And questions, corrections, additions, or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Item number 6.1, school updates, Dr. B.
Wonderful, thank you. You all should have a one-pager and it's not a front and back as usual, but a one pager. Just want to go over some of the highlights that are here for our school updates. So Edge Academy of Health Science, we've continued our planning. We have gone out to the Rocky Mount campus and done a tour, walkthrough. We've walked through with transportation. We've walked through with Ms. McDowell so that they could see the spaces and try to begin to plan where would buses drive off, where would the cafeteria be located, where would classrooms and offices be held. So we've done that. We've also created a website for the school. We've created several recruitment videos. Dr. Batts and team will begin visiting middle schools this week to talk to their current eighth graders. As you recall, our Edge Academy of Health Science will be 50 ninth graders, 50 eighth graders, and 50 ninth graders, or the rising eighth and ninth graders. So we're excited about that. Tomorrow, as we are talking with the county commissioners from Nash, we will share that there will be some spaces made available for those students if they're willing to allow them to come over and partake, be a part of the Edge Academy. So we're excited about that. The calendar committee, a draft version of the school calendars will be sent next week to all staff members. So Ms. Hope, along with the team, have worked on the calendar committee, have given some pros and cons based on information. We've added in some days for the letters training to make sure that our teachers will continue to have support for next year. But next month, we will bring before you the traditional calendar and the early college calendar for your approval. CTE month, February, is Career and Technical Education Month. Our schools have been participating in lots of activities. Some of those activities include college visits, CTE curriculum nights, a logo design competition, and creation of a new Future Business Leaders of America chapter at Tarver High School. So those are just some of the things that are really exciting that are happening, but also thinking about students and roles that they can play, jobs that they may be able to get through the CTE training and support. We know that every student's not going to go to a four-year university or college. That's okay. There's still other opportunities for them to begin some of their career thoughts during high school. And then our scholar teachers. On Friday, the governor's drive task force was in Edgecombe. And we were able to have a presentation. Mr. Smith, Ms. Watson, Dr. Millicent Ruffin from Corning, and myself, we were a part of that presentation. Some of those topics included the Scholar Teacher Program, our relationship with ECC, and then the relationship with Corning. During that presentation, we were able to share with the other Drive Task Force members. We got lots of questions throughout the day about some of the processes that we're using, how we decided to come up with this idea with the scholar teachers, and we were able to answer those questions and be able to help others who are in other school systems think about starting a scholar teacher program. During that meeting, we had online task force members as well as those face-to-face, and we had a $30,000 donation come in just from that presentation. So the team did a great job of sharing what was there, what's a part of our program, and we also had scholar teachers who are currently at Edgecombe Early College be able to share and stand up and be able to be seen by the public. So we were excited about that. They're doing a great job, and just pleased. The last thing that you see listed here is PBS is featuring one of our scholar teachers, Jacqueline Dickens. She's at MMA. There's a video. You can go to the PBS website, or you can go look at our district Facebook page for the video featuring Jacqueline. So again, she's been featured in Eggs and Issues a couple weeks ago in Raleigh. She's a part of the teacher scholar program throughout our county, and then she's also been featured in PBS. So Jacqueline's been busy. She's one of our star teachers at MMA, and we're excited that she's a scholar teacher and staying in our community. I'll stop there, see if there are any questions, but I did just wanted to say United Way, they called out a lot of names, but just hearing how much our school system was able to give back in such hard times, it says a lot about our community, to be able to give even when it might be hard for us to give. So just really proud of our schools for continuing. Any questions?
Dr. B, on behalf of the board, I'd like to say to you and Mr. Smith and Dr. Ruffin and Ms. Swanson and the scholar teachers who presented Thank you. You all did a superb job. Of course, I'm prejudiced, but you all trumped the rest of the presentations.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing that. We
Absolutely.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
6.2, school improvement, Dr. Myrick.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, superintendent. Last month, you heard presentations from our CSI designated schools. And starting this month, we will have our other schools come and present the great things that are happening at their schools and how those activities align with their school improvement plans. Presenting tonight in this order would be Mrs. Melanie Hunter from Coker Wimberley Elementary School Principal, Ms. Tanika Mercer, Principal of Princeton Elementary, Mr. Billy Strother, Principal of South Edgecombe Middle, and Mr. Terry Hopkins, Principal of Carver High.
Good evening, Coco, what used to say Coco Wembley family. Good evening, Edgecombe County Board, our chair and co-chair, and Dr. Superintendent, thank you for having us. I am the proud principal of Coco Wembley Elementary School.
The proud assistant principal at Cook River Elementary School. And good evening.
I share with you a packet of information because I do have a time limit that I plan to keep. I want to tell you a little bit about the makeup of Coker Wembley. We are 256 scholars, pre-K through 5. We're 100% free lunch. We have 26 instructional staff members. We are a Restart School, a Title I school, and an Innovative Partnership Grant School. This is my 3rd year serving as principal. I started at Coker Wembley as an assistant principal. We met growth for 2 consecutive years and have been removed from CSI status. In your notebooks, you have our current data. I will not go through the data with you, but it does show that we are continuing to make gains based on our iReady data, our benchmark data, as well as our HillRAP scholars who receive special instruction around literacy and phonemic awareness. We're proud of that. And a quote that I have at the top is, "Data will talk if you're willing to listen." So this is a place that we try to start with data and try to design our plan around what the data says. If you go next to our SIT goals, these are our primary goals. We want to increase staff attendance. And I'm sure that this is a goal that a lot of us want to see improve. But these are ongoing goals. Goal 1 is to increase staff attendance. We want to increase that by 11.26%, going from 86.47 to 98%. And we would like to increase our teacher working conditions survey points from 92.3 to 100%. In goal 2, we'd like to increase scholar attendance and lower discipline referrals. We celebrate scholars each month, and staff members are invited to attend an attendance or receive some type of token of appreciation for their attendance. We received a $1.5 million Innovative Partnership Grant at the beginning of 2021, which will expire at the end of 2023. In front of you are the 4 main goals of our Innovative Partnership Grant. Goal 1 is to increase instruction through inquiry-based learning, or IBL. Goal 2 is to create a culture of joy through social emotional learning, or SEL. Goal 3 is develop a multi-tier system of support, or MTSS, processes to support all scholars in developing academic and social emotional skills. And goal 4 is to build a resilient foundation for this critical work by increasing the capacity within the Coker Wembley leadership team. We're going to focus our attention on goal 1. I chose this particular goal because this is where we see the most joy with our scholars. When scholars are able to make with their hands and apply the standards that they're learning in their class, it all starts to make sense. We have to create a community of scholars that are problem solvers. And inquiry-based learning affords scholars that opportunity to be problem solvers. We have a fully stocked makerspace, and I want to thank our technology department. They have worked hand in hand with us to make sure that all of the parts of our makerspace are working. The picture to the far right is from this past Saturday, from our Saturday Academy. Ms. McElwee, who is a district IT lead, assisted our scholars with Snap Circuit and with making Valentine's Day cards for their parents. These are upcoming events that are aligned to our SIT and IPG goals. We invite you to come out to a special event on March 18th. It is our Family Fun Day event. We're going to have opportunities for parents to meet with Downey's Partnership, to have, we'll have food trucks out there, we'll have bouncy houses. We want to invite the community to come out and support learning in and around our Northside community. The other dates as well, please feel free to attend any of the events listed there. These are some of the strategies that we're currently using to meet our SIT goals. Each member of our SIT team is a driver of a committee. This creates a culture of buy-in. If they own something, they'll take care of it. So each SIT member is in charge of various committees in our school. We are partners with Downey's Partnership for Children. They are SIT members. They attend our meetings, and they are always there to support our events at our school. We increased our staff by offering 2.5 Pill Rep teachers. Their input and their impact has been tremendous. They have been able, with their help, have been able to close a lot of gaps in our scholars' reading that was lost during the pandemic or during school closure. Salvation Army Joshua Challenge is offered to our 3rd graders and 4th grade reading retained scholars. We also see a marked improvement in those scholars who attend that program. We're increasing our IBL and SEL for our teachers, getting them to have more ownership when doing these hands-on activities and embracing innovation. And I'm going to go down to number 7. We are right now doing our Dolphins Rise and Saturday Academies. Last year, our after-school tutoring, with those efforts, we saw 51% of our scholars who attended pass the EOG. 66% of those 66% of scholars showed increase by the time of the end of the year. There's a lot of more information in the packet in front of you. And if you have any questions at this time, we'd love to entertain those.
Are there questions or comments? Mr. Sumner, thank you, and Ms. Kent. Thank you all for your leadership at Coco Wembley and all that you're doing. From what we're hearing, we certainly know that we're going to be proud somewhere near the end of May or whatever. But regardless of that, we're proud of you anyway for the work that you're already doing. And it can't help but get better if you continue to do that. Now, you spoke of the staff attendance. Is that a tremendous problem or any one day it's a problem, but tell us about it.
Yes, sir. So because we use our Encore team as push-in into our classes during intervention time, we sometimes have to supplement when we don't have the sub to have our Encore team push in and support classes. I just believe that education should continue regardless of the absences. So because they're teammates already with another teacher on staff, it's an easy fit. We love to have everybody there every day, but when we don't, we have people that have gotten into the groove of the schedule, so they're able to fit in.
Comments or questions? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Send that, those dates, I didn't write them down, but send those dates to,
You'll share them with me.
so we can get them, because we do want to know. Okay, now.
Good evening, Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and Dr. B. I am Tamika Mercer, the principal at Princeville Elementary School. Thank you all for having me, and for the opportunity to be able to share some information about Princeville Elementary. So what we want to do at Princeville, our 4 goals. These are from our school improvement plan. Number 1 is to increase by at least 10 percentage points in our tested subject areas, ELA, math, and 5th grade science. We also want to decrease by at least 10 percentage points our number of discipline referrals from last year. We want to exceed growth by the end of this school year so that we can eliminate our low performing status. And we want to achieve at least 1 year's worth of growth for all students. So we have 3 big aims that kind of summarize the goals that I just shared with you. So we have a push for proficiency, growth for all, and we want to eliminate our low performing status. Right here, I have shared some M-class data from K-3. So all of our students ended up doing M-class, but we didn't have data for the beginning of the year for our 4th and 5th grade. So I wanted to show a comparison of beginning of year and middle of year for our K-3 students. And so you can see that beginning of year, we had 91 students in the red, 15 in the yellow, 15 in green, and 5 in the blue. And so what we would hope happened, or what we hope happens, is that our reds would decrease and then our green and blues increase. And so you can see that that is evident here. So some of our reds probably shifted to yellow. Some of the yellows could have shifted to green, and then some of the green could have perhaps shifted to blue. What I have here is our benchmark performance. So our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders take what is called the NC check-ins. And this is through DPI. And so each assessment is about 25 questions. It takes about 90 minutes. And it is in all the tested subject areas. And so you can see on the left side, we have reading from the beginning of the year. On the right half of the screen, we have reading for the middle of the year. So you can see we decreased some of our reds. We increased to 1 blue, but we still have some work to do because we will hope that those, especially those greens and those blues, increase. Yellow is not students who are not proficient. Those are our level 3 students. And the reason they're coded as yellow is because those students we have to closely monitor so that they are continuing to progress, so they don't regress and then potentially become not proficient. So we have to keep a close eye on them to make sure that they maintain a level 3 and possibly even a level 4. And then you can see where we have math. And so there we've increased the yellows, but we've also increased the greens from beginning of the year to the middle of the year. I want to talk to you about our purposeful partnerships and programming. So for this first slide, I'm going to talk about partnerships that are done outside of ECPS, and then the next slide I'll talk about partnerships within our district. So the LH&S stands for Learning Hub and Spokes. That is a grant that Princeville, West, and North Edgecombe went in together and completed. And what we do there is we take our science and social study standards and we embed them in the human-centered design process. And so we really want our students to be able to engage in the subject areas that they often love, but do that with a purpose. And so they have to go through discovery phase. They have to go through the phase where they are doing empathy interviews. And I think that is critically important, that students have to be able to have conversations with community people, with adults, and listen to and kind of digest what is being shared with them, so then they can learn to create something that the person that they're creating it for would potentially buy or like. And so with that, they have to design something, then they have to go back and revise, then they continue to do several iterations of that until they are satisfied with their product. And so I just think that is critically important, because that is why we're on like our iPhone, what are we on now, 15, 14? Because they determine what we like, what changes need to be made, and they're constantly revising. And so we're preparing kids for their future and not ours. And so it is critically important that we prepare kids for thinking, creating, designing, refining, but also failing and then learning from that failure. So failure can be formative. It does not have to be final. We also do Number Lab. So Number Lab is a group out of Austin, Texas, and we have partnered with them for the last couple of years. And so we've taken a trip down there to participate in some professional development. We've invited them into our space to work with our scholars. And then hopefully in April, we'll take another trip up there to see math instruction and reading instruction. And then, so I'm going to take you to the next slide, but I'll still talk about those. But I just wanted you to be able to connect to what I'm talking about. And so in the upper left corner, you see some fruits and vegetables. That was from our Learning Hub and Spokes units last year. In the top right, you see some students working on some math problems. That is a third grade tutoring group that I work with. And so we are using the Number Lab strategies and practices. In the bottom left, you see what is called Human Math. All of our 4th and 5th graders are involved in Human Math. It is to help students with being fluent in math computation. And so students started out adding and subtracting, and now we have some students who are working on multiplication and division. So we've seen the progress in just 3 or 4 months that students are making. In the middle, we have our Parent, Educator, and Caregiver Academy. So we started that last year. We have continued this year. We were purposeful in scheduling those events. So we always partner with report card or progress report pickup to make sure that we get a large turnout. And for this session that we just had and the session before that, we talked to parents about Lemonade Wars. So our whole school is doing a book read. And then in the bottom right corner, you see our rain garden. And so we have a partnership with Conservation Corps. And so they designed some things for us to, as mitigation to flooding measures. So a rain garden helps absorb water. And so you can see that like one day it will appear to be flooded. The very next day, all the water has been absorbed. And so the plants that they put in here are intentional. They hold water well and they absorb it quickly. And then our plan and our work. And so with showing you the scores and our performance, we still have a lot of work to do. And so our plans are intentional and strategic. You can see in the upper left corner was our visit from Number Lab, but we also had a board member to grace us with her presence and participate in the professional development. In the bottom left, you see our PLCs, our professional learning communities. They are intentional, they are teacher-driven, and they're customized based on what the teacher and the grade level needs. In the top right corner is where we partner with our curriculum specialist. We have a strong curriculum support team, and so they're at our school at least once a week offering support in various formats. In the bottom right, we partnered with a couple of other schools in our technology department, and we took our kids to the first Lego League Challenge. And so it was a Saturday in Greenville. They really enjoyed that, and we will have another one this semester. And in the middle one is the most special. So we partner with our other schools. And so this particular student loves Mr. Jenkins. I sent Mr. Jenkins an email and said, hey, if you're ever in the area, can you stop by and see Mason? And he made it happen. And so this made this little boy's day. And so we just try to strategically partner with our people in Edgecombe. A lot of times school systems will outsource PD, but the talent and the potential lies right here in Edgecombe. And so I like to capitalize on that for our students and staff. And that's it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Well, Ms. Mercer, you should be getting, I'm sure you all are proud of Kumon. I remember that. That's a great program. So I'm sure you all are moving with that. That's tremendous. It really is.
And so Dr. B recommended that to us, and so we're grateful.
That's what leaders are for.
That's right.
You mentioned that you're looking to decrease the disciplinary referrals. What are you doing to do that? Not everything, just some.
So we recognize
Don't
students.
take all of his time.
We recognize students monthly that meet the expectation of not getting referrals. We post the data in our schools so students can see. And so we've seen the 2 grade levels who have the most referrals. And that in itself has helped decrease referrals. But we also, our counselor does a lot of interventions and things of that nature with students to try to prevent future discipline referrals.
Comments or questions? Thank you, Princefield. We are looking for great things. Well, about the rainforest, because I went over there the day before school opened. I called Dr. B. I said, it looks a mess over there. Well, yeah, I know. We said that. I called her on Sunday. I said, we can't open school looking like that. But she got this straight. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Madam Vice Chair, board members, and Dr. B. I'm excited to stand before you tonight to share some of the great work that our team at South Edgecombe is taking part in. You know, it's been 3 years since I've been able to share our story because of COVID. And so I'm really excited to share the update since the last time I was able to stand before you. Also, I would like to thank Ms. Mercer and Ms. Hunter, I'm sorry. Just anytime we see our colleagues share their work, it's so inspiring. And so just appreciate you guys sharing the work that you are doing at your schools. So first I want to start with our data points. I've been at South Edgecombe now for 6 years. Back in 2016, 2017, we were at negative 7.97 if we're looking at our school growth index and a growth score of 53. And I'll focus on the growth there because, of course, I think that's the most meaningful indicator when it comes to how we're performing as a school. And so looking ahead up to 2021-22, last year, we've experienced over 30 points of growth since that 2016-2017 school year.
Thank you.
Tremendous work by the team. And if you'll notice on the yellow column in the blank between 2018 and 2019, I intentionally put the yellow there because that's the COVID years, right? And so many people coming back after COVID experienced a dip there. And if you look at our scores, we didn't continue with that same forward momentum that we had, but we also didn't experience a dip. We still had some forward push and progress there. And so just so grateful and so thankful for the team and the work that they're doing. So our goals for this year is to increase our proficiency in reading, math, and 8th grade science by 10 percentage points, to exceed growth as measured by EVOS growth standards, to improve our student attendance percentage to 95%, and then to increase student satisfaction and school connectedness for all students as indicated by our panorama survey data. And so the indicators we look for there is school safety, a sense of belonging, engagement, and of course, overall climate and culture. So how do we do that? Well, we have 4 real priorities that we're looking at South Edgecombe. First is the model classroom. So if you look at that picture up top, that's where all the magic happens. That's Mike Jones' classroom. He's our math multi-classroom leader, MCL. And within that classroom, not only is it high quality instruction that's meaningful and engaging and affirming for our students, but also our staff. See, as Ms. Mercer just said, we've got talent right here in Edgecombe. So I don't have to send our teachers out to any other district or anywhere else to be inspired or to get quality PD. They visit Mr. Jones' classroom. And so that's our model classroom where within our building, our teachers are able to walk away with quality professional development just by observing him, but not only observing him, it's the interactions afterwards when they debrief with him. So that's that top picture that really hits, again, high quality instruction and then meaningful staff development for the staff. Bottom left, another focus of ours is small group instruction. And so that's small group instruction for our 6th grade math students. There in the center is an 8th grade ELA teacher, Ms. Whitaker. She's providing direct one-on-one instruction while her students are engaged in collaborative activities around her. And then another source of pride for us at South Edgecombe is our academic support. So there on that right corner is Lee Salisbury. You'll notice the students working independently on their iReady, which is our intervention and enrichment program, while he's carrying on a one-on-one academic advising conversation with the student there. So what makes us gleam at South Edgecombe? Well, for one, we want to make sure that we're providing grade level instruction and in a manner that's engaging, affirming, and meaningful. So how do we do that? Well, fortunately, we have high quality instructional resources through McGraw-Hill Study Sync for reading and McGraw-Hill Reveal for math. We also use our iReady math and reading programs, the Hill Wrap reading program, IXL math, and Kessler Science. And I wanted to uplift the fact that those are all available remotely. So if students happen to be out due to an extended sickness or injury, they're able to continue with their learning. Additionally, we have the resources, but how we're providing the instruction. And so we really focus on real-time academic monitoring. That means as the teachers are teaching and students are working, our teachers are monitoring to make sure that they have a full understanding if the students are grasping the content or not. We also focus on small group instruction, after-school tutoring twice a week. Again, our academic support class where we focus on intervention, enrichment, social-emotional learning, and academic advising. And then also our student engagement facilitator who monitors attendance, academics, and behavior. We also have a deep and tremendous focus on professional development, especially with our opportunity culture, which includes our EIT teachers and our MCO, our model classroom, our learning walks, instructional coaching using the Get Better Faster and Teach Like a Champion strategies, and of course our mentor teachers. And then most recently, we've gained a lot of support from our K-8 math and reading specialist. But what really makes it all work, what makes it truly gleam, is these folks right here. They show up every day with their open hearts, open minds, and open doors. Just a tremendous staff who, fortunately, for the most part, has been together for all 6 of these years, and that's why we see that gain, because there's consistency and continued growth and development in not only the student learning, but also our teaching practices. And we try to facilitate everything we do at South with that open hearts, open minds, and open doors mantra. Any questions for us?
Questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Billy. Looks like you're well on the way. That's great. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anybody else?
Wonderful job.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. Board Chair, Reverend Privet, Madam Vice Chair, Dr. Wilson, other board members, Dr. Bridges, Superintendent. My name is Terry Hopkins, Principal at Tarver High School. I'm here to, he's handing out handouts for you, but here to just kind of explain to you some of the great things that we're doing at Tarver High School and how we're improving our academics and culture for the 22-23 school year. Here we have our data dating back to the last year prior to the pandemic for 2018-19. Also have our data the year that we actually experienced the pandemic. And then we have our data last year when we had our scholars enter the building. As you can see, although we have certain data points where we had made improvement or had growth in certain areas, we still have a long way to go for us to get to where we need to be to come out of our low performance status. So our school improvement goals for this 2022-23 school year is to retain 80% of our staff at Tarboro High School. Currently, we at 76.9%, but we want to make sure that we retain the staff. As Mr. Strother mentioned before, we know that the magic happens when we have a consistency with staff inside of the building. We also want to improve our report card grade status from a D to a status C. Each year we keep getting closer and closer, but we want to make sure that we do things that's going to be intentional and impactful for our students so that we can not only exceed growth, but we can move from a D status to a C status. So what that looks like inside of our building, that means that we're going to focus on our subgroups, improve learning with supports and interventions, to really have an IE or an intervention enrichment period that's going to be intentional, that's going to improve student learning for our students. Also have informational sessions to provide instructional tips and strategies for academic success for our teachers, and to also be able to provide academic clubs to develop soft skills, collaboration, and leadership skills for our students. We know that prior to COVID, although we had academic clubs, once COVID hit, a lot of the things that we wanted to do, we couldn't implement due to the pandemic. So what does that look like? So once again, as we talked about leadership skills, we, Tarboro High School, we pride ourselves in the 4 A's. As we speak to our students, we always make them aware of those 4 A's, which is academics, arts, AFJRTC, and also athletics. Studies has always shown that whenever a student participates in clubs or other extracurricular activities, they always found success when they're in school. They always found success in their academics. So here in the top left-hand corner, we have our National Honor Society students during the holidays delivering food for a family in need. The middle picture is our AFJRTC program that are actually presenting the colors at one of the championship games that we had in the winter. It wasn't our game, but it was a game that the NCHSAA reached out to our team to allow them to present the colors for one of the other high school games. I also want to mention with our AFJRTC program, our program actually hosts other JRTC programs throughout the state, and also actually have a camp where they have these programs that actually come in. They have these other AFJRTC programs that actually come in, and they teach them leadership skills so that they can grow in their leadership skills and areas. We also try to celebrate our students and our teachers. Right there, we have a young man right there, Malik. So we try to celebrate our students anytime they're doing well and they're succeeding inside of the classroom or outside of the classroom through and by their behavior. So each month we have a student of the month and teacher of the month, and we always try to reward them for their efforts that they're doing inside of the classroom. Directly under him, we have Mr. Stafford, who's also is doing great things inside of the classroom. He's made a tremendous amount of growth for our biology students for the fall semester, and we just celebrated him on that great accomplishment for the fall semester. Besides that, beside his picture, we have the flyer that we have showing interest of students who was looking to join the debate team. We're looking at creating clubs and providing opportunities for our students to come out and to be a part of academics, academic clubs, and other things that can foster their growth and learning. And to the left, we have Ms. Underhill's Health Science 2 class, showing students that are in the surgical gowns and gloves. That's a class that we have, and we also, in our CTE program, we always look to try to encourage our students for those that are looking for career opportunities in that field area. So what are some other things that we're doing to make sure that those great things are happening on campus? We use Teach Like a Champion strategies. We provide teachers with the Teach Like a Champion book that provides instructional strategies and techniques for them to have students and to keep students engaged in learning inside the classroom. And we also have a walkthrough tool that we have under the Teach Like a Champion picture there that we normally visit the classrooms to make sure that they're using these instructional strategies to make sure the students are getting everything they need academically to make sure that those needs are met. So each month we purchase, each month we always present an instructional strategy or technique. We call it the IT of the month, the instructional technique. And we would take an instructional strategy out of the Teach Like a Champion book, and we would take that strategy and we would either coach the teacher, model it for the teacher, or let them know the benefits that they can receive from using that strategy inside of the classroom. And as we do our walkthroughs, we let them know how they may have performed their academic strategy inside of the classroom. In the upper right-hand corner is me meeting with Dr. Torres with Transcend. Transcend, we're working with them. We're connecting with them this school year so we can look at providing our students with unlimited opportunities. You can see the graduate aims and the other great things that we're looking at as we're currently trying to draft a model where we can provide those unlimited opportunities to our students at Tarboro High School. Also under that, the North Carolina Instructional Leadership Academy. That's where I'm also attending now so that I can also continue to make sure that I'm coaching my teachers and I have the tools needed to better serve and support them in whatever efforts they need me to be in to help support our students. And to the far left is our power schedule. That's a new initiative that we just started for this year. Power is basically to plan, organize, work, eat, also to relax. I think you guys have a pamphlet that we've given to you, and we also have the schedule up there. And basically with Power, if you look into the brochure, it kind of really outlines the clubs, also the standard labs that we have for students. We basically sent out a survey, and we wanted to know what the students actually took interest in. Once we gather that data, what they took interest in, what type of clubs they wanted to see on campus, Miss Joyce, my assistant principal admin, she was like, hey, look, you know, I know we work with Power at North Edgecombe. We can purchase this program through Flex Time Manager, and it can help us organize and help us strategize where students can go during the day, where we can not only offer them the standards lab to get them the support they need academically, but we can also allow them to participate in the clubs that's made available for them. So what we did was want to thank the CISS team, Dr. Bridges, on helping us, assisting us with purchasing the Flex Time Manager program, because with that, we were able to actually implement Power last week. And it was great to be able to see the students participate in so many different clubs, so many different activities, and things that they really took interest in. I know a lot of teachers felt like, you know, even with Power, with having 570 students on campus, where they're going to go, how they're going to move, but the students knew exactly right where they wanted to go. They went there, they enjoyed themselves. Even as we try to ask them for feedback, they really enjoyed it, and they say they would like to continue it. So we're looking at continuing with Power and making sure that our students continue to grow with the standard labs, and also with them being able to grow academically through the clubs that we're providing for them. Do we have any questions?
Questions or comments? I know Power is relatively new, but you're pleased with it at this point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The students are as well. As I mentioned before, they really enjoy being able to participate. I know we have cosmetology. We have a lot of young ladies that's interested in cosmetology, other career fields. So we try to even have outside guests, different small business owners, different ones to come in, talk to our students, spark their interest. And I think through and by that, they really appreciate, you know, us being able to provide that for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Great thing. Okay. All right. Thank you. I thought he was going to. All right, 6.3, maintenance, Mr. Carlton.
Good evening. Mr. Board Chair, Board members, Dr. Bridges. I come this evening to give you the maintenance update. Okay. Fire alarm panel upgrade. Coca Wemley, fire alarm panel upgrade. Johnson and Sloss Elementary fire alarm panel upgrade. Johnson Control proposal is $30,300. Both of them have the same panel. These panels are over 24 years old, so they have to be upgraded. We could have got a board that was bad. Well, not bad. It's a refurbished board. If we would have got that, we've been in the same predicament. Yes. So therefore, this is the better option. Quote is turnkey, 1-for-1 emergency replacement of the existing Simplex 410 fire alarm panel with a Simplex 4010 ES fire alarm panel. Existing Simplex 410 panel is discontinued and obsolete. Parts for this panel are no longer available. Scope of work continue. Create and provide update panel load calculation for the new panel. Create and provide a full fire alarm zone map. Tag all wiring and prep existing fire alarm panel for the replacement. Create programming update for the existing and new equipment. Remove fire alarm panel and replace with new panel and make all connections back to the new panel. Replace notification booster panels and connect to IDNet for communication control. Replace remote and actuator. Test and verify operation of 20% of the facility device. Complete NFPA 72 certification inspection. Complete fire marshal inspection. This is the Martin Millennium Academy. Any question about the fire panel before I go to Martin? Okay. At Martin Millennium, we changed the hot water pump out there for the it's the it's gym. Yes, it's the gym. My bad. But, we provide and deliver new taco base mounted pump, 7.25 impeller, 1,750 RPM mode. All work will be performed during the normal working hours. This is our cost, $7,172.21. All right. This is your pump. See how old it is? This is our new pump. From high school. We had to change the inline pump out there. Drain the heat and hot water system for the valves closest to the pump in the cafeteria hallway. Facility to disconnect the electrical from existing pump. Demo existing hot water pump and piping as needed for new pump installation. And send the pump to the factory to confirm the impeller size for the new pump. Install one Tyco line C1 pump 6.15. Impeller 1750 RPM connections. Facility to reconnect electrical to the new Tyco pump. Work will be done during normal working hours. Our price is $7,938. Right on the left is your old. On the right is your new. South middle underground piping update. This is what they did so far. Install temporary plastic fencing around the work area. Concrete block exposed steam and condensate piping to jam remove. Any asbestos from the steam and condensate piping removed. Remove the existing steam and condensate piping. Your fence. He's on your pipe. All right, South Middle Cafeteria update. Project completed on Friday, February 10th, 2023, and the unit was turned on. In your middle, that's what you're waiting on. That was what you was waiting on. The ductwork. It had to be built. See how long it is all the way around the cafeteria. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions or comments, Mr. Carter? Mr. Carter, most of the things that you talked about the last time, 24 to 25 months and all of that, we're getting closer and closer, aren't we?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And all of the prices that you just gave us, were they budgeted, or this is in addition to those things that have all, that we budgeted already? These are in addition to that, right?
Well, actually, this is like a send them out there, and we have to pay. Kind of like a, like Ms. Kent was saying one time, patch. You know, if it's broke, we have to fix it.
Got you for years.
Yes, yes, sir.
That's why we're the fix we're in there.
Yes, sir. And we still, we got some more fire alarms that we'd like to get out. Yes. 20-something.
So the fire alarms that were proposed that you talked about this evening for those two schools,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna get that probably this school year, right?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna do everything I can. Dr. B's help to try to get it.
Well, we appreciate what you all are doing. We know that we have all this. We know that.
And I looked at a date on one of those panels. It's 1997. So, just
Well, we appreciate what you all are doing. Keep it up.
thank you. We're trying. Yes,
I
ma'am.
just have a general question.
Yes, ma'am.
Years ago, we had an ice maker that worked with the chiller at Tarver High School. Do we still have that?
Ice maker that work with the children?
No, not ice like we were eating. It made ice during hours.
Cool building.
Yeah, it made ice during off-peak time. So when the chill ran through it, it would be a consistent temperature, kind of like geothermal, but the opposite of it.
We need to get that again.
Well, I was wondering if it's not operational still. Is it?
No, ma'am.
It just, I think, made a more consistent water temperature. So when, I'm not saying it's cost effective, I was just wondering if we still use it.
No, ma'am. I haven't seen it.
But it's not eating ice, it's.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Well, we appreciate you all. Tell you guys that we appreciate them and that they're working hard, and we're looking forward to that.
Yes, sir. I will. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. All right, Dr. B, 6-4, field trips.
6-4, there are some field trips that came in between board members' meetings. You see Phillips Middle School, they're going to NC State Desire STEM program. Those programs are usually on Saturdays. And then you see Tarver High School going to Beaver State University for basketball team. You see the dates there. And then you see overnight for Stocks, Curry Convention Center in Greensboro. That was their junior beta club. Those are the field trips in 6.4. And then any questions or concerns?
Okay, all right.
In 6.5, you see fundraisers, things in between board meetings, Tarver High School cheerleading, Stocks Elementary School raffle, and South Mayball Committee fundraiser to sell candy, and then Phillips Middle School to host a Bulldog Shepherd dance in between our board meetings.
Questions or comments? Okay, 6.6.
6.6, we'll ask Ms. Anna Pierce if she'll come forward for ESEA Title I Part A School Improvement Funds.
Good evening, Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Dr. Valerie Bridges, Superintendent, and members of the board. I'm here to give you an update this evening. As you remember, last month, our CSI schools presented, and one of those schools was GW Bullock. And they presented information about providing a supplement for teachers in CSI high needs schools as part of a retention strategy and recruitment strategies for staff within that school. At that time, Ms. Altima shared that she would bring back the final information regarding that supplement. So I'm here tonight to present that information. And so what the school has landed on, and this has also been approved by the Department of Public Instruction in our application that was submitted, is that for the remainder of this school year, that a $100 monthly supplement for all eligible employees, and that would be instructional staff, be paid each month for the duration of this school year. And then also that would begin next school year at the beginning of the year and run through the 2023-2024. So that would be a total of $500 for this school year for second semester and a total of $1,000 for next school year. And then at the end of next school year, the school will actually reassess, look at the data, determine the input and impact on the supplement on staffing and recruitment needs. As you're aware, they do receive the funding for 3 years. And so after next year, after reviewing the data, they'll decide if that's a strategy that they will want to continue in their final year. And so this will be eligible for all full-time instructional staff, but not limited to teachers, teacher assistants, multi-classroom leaders, instructional coaches, guidance counselors, and digital literacy coaches at the school. And there is an attendance policy component in terms of any eligible employee may miss no more than 8 hours a month to be eligible for the monthly $100 supplement as part of that as well.
Do that again, no more than how many days?
8 hours.
Oh, 8 hours,
One full
okay.
day. One full instructional day. And that would include required work days and days where students are in the building, because we know how important those work days are for the
Absolutely.
professional development as
Yeah.
well. We
Questions or
promised to
comments?
bring the information back, so we wanted to bring that back to you tonight.
I just have a comment. I'm glad that it's extended to more than just teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that teacher assistants are often on the lower end of the pay scale, so I'm glad that they're being included. Some of the other positions too, that we're trying to keep the building completely staffed.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Pierce.
Okay, thank you.
6.7.
Swanson?
Good evening, Board Chair, and Vice Chair, Superintendent Bridges, and members of the board. It's great to be with you all tonight. So I am here to share that Edgecombe County Public Schools submitted a New Schools Venture Fund Innovative Public School Planning Grant. Credit goes to Arlene Gordon-Bray for taking the lead on this grant. This grant provides 3 areas of support to the school system. It provides a 1-year grant of $215,000 to support planning prior to the opening of a new school. And we would focus these funds on the opening of a new high school model that would serve the students coming to us from Rocky Mount as part of the demerger. The grant would also provide us with a community of practice to build relationships and learn from peer organizations that also receive this grant, and then management assistance as we plan and implement the new school model. This did fall between board meetings, so we wanted to share this with you, and hopefully we'll be back to share that we received the grant.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all.
Sounds exciting. Okay, no committee reports, 8.1, we're on the consent items.
8.1A, if you take a look in your board books, you'll see the extended day field trips. There's one for Edgecombe College High School, there's one for Stocks Elementary School, and Carver Elementary School. Those are, again, listed in your board books, trip board report. Any questions?
Any questions on those? All right, here it is. 8.2. Keep going.
We have some fundraisers. BOE Elementary School, they have a community engagement committee to host a father-daughter dance on March 3rd. Gives you that time, and it also gives you the ticket prices. There's another one for BOE Elementary School String Dance. It was to be able to sell photographs of this dance. And those are the 2 fundraiser requests. And in your book, you see the documentation that has been provided. Questions or concerns?
Questions or concerns? Hearing none. All right, 8.3A.
8.3A, we'll ask Ms. Pierce to come back up for 8.3A and 8.4A.
Good evening again. 838 is in regards to our school improvement fund, CSI 105, ESA Title I Part A. At our meeting last month, I presented information about our school CSI funds, our grant and our application. And since then, our grant and application has been approved by the Department of Public Instruction, and we have received our grant award notification. And so we come to you this evening to accept to give approval to accept the grant funds awarded to Edgecombe County Public Schools from the North Carolina Department of Instruction in the amount of $1,231,137.97.
Questions or comments?
Keep going.
And then our next item of consent, and this is one that kind of fell in between board meetings as well. And I think Dr. Bridges shared with the board previously a couple of months ago about the pay and the principal pay scale based on performance school outcomes. Previously, it was the best 2 or 3 years. And they recently updated with legislation that change will now be based on the previous year, which would have had a negative impact on some of the principals within buildings because it is just on that 1 year. And so as a response to that, there has been a new ESSER grant that was awarded by the Department of Public Instruction. And that grant, as a district, we received funds that would impact and cover the difference in supplement costs of 3 principals within our school district. And so I come to you tonight to request approval for receipt. We have received the grant award notification for that as well. And so we are seeking consent for approval of receipt of those grant funds for that principal retention supplement.
Questions or comments?
Stick around, we're gonna do one motion for all of these.
Okay.
85, Ms. McDowell.
Good evening. Good evening. Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, other board members, and Dr. Bridges. I'm before you tonight to be approved for a grant it's called an LFS grant, which is a local foods for schools. With that grant, we received $21,268.51. Our plans for that grant is going to be to purchase local produce from Reverend Joyner. The facility has to be GAP certified, so I'm checking with him now to make sure that they're GAP certified. The grant is to purchase local produce, and the produce has to be within a 400-mile radius. But I chose to hopefully purchase everything from Reverend Joyner. He's given me a list of items that he grow during the spring, summer, and fall. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to purchase all fruits from him. We can't purchase the vegetables because they got to be cleaned. And I'm short-staffed, and they would throw me out of there if I brought all of those vegetables in. Now, there is, Halifax County has a facility where they clean it and they put it in bags. But if I can purchase everything through Reverend Joyner with fruits, then that's what I wanted.
Is he saying that he's GAP certified?
I emailed them today to verify. We were in a webinar today in reference to it, and that was one of the requirements. So I emailed, so hopefully I have an email tomorrow saying that they are GAP certified, because that is required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
And they were, but you have to reevaluate every year.
Okay.
So I just need to make sure he's still GAP certified.
Well, thank you.
I would love to be able to give him all that money.
Our prayer is that they're GAP certified so we can buy local.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, and one more thing. Oh, you have.
Yes. If Mr. Joyner is going to raise the vegetable, do you mean to tell me he doesn't have a place where he can clean them as they are distributed?
No, we were on a webinar too in reference to that. And they're applying for a grant to try and get the infrastructure to do that. But right now, they do not have that.
Okay.
And one more thing, I just want to share this with you all. And I usually mail them to you, but I wanted to just give it to you tonight since I have it handy.
Thank you, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from Mrs. McDowell? Any others? All right, 8.6. 8.6, thank you. Mr. Hayes.
Greeting Board Chair, my new Vice Chair, Superintendent Dr. Bridges, and board members. Technology Department is requesting board approval to submit the Rural Utilities Service DLT grant application, and we gave it an acronym HOLE for Wellness, Health, Opportunities, and Learning for EdgeCom. This is from the U.S. Department of Agriculture for the 2023 Distance Learning and Telemedicine Grant Program in the amount of $1,148,089. The primary purpose of this grant is to support mental health and SEL awareness for all our middle school students and all our high school students. This would be putting the technology in the classrooms where they can receive live synchronous instruction about mental health, how to identify it, how to strategies to cope with those strategies, and then also, or those problems, and also some one-on-one help if they need it. And this again for all our middle school and high school students. A secondary purpose of the grant is to expand professional development and student course offerings across the district and beyond via the telecommunications equipment and technology. The grant will cover 85% of the total grant request. The remaining 15% or $149,751 will be paid from the state technology funds per the grant requirements. Any questions?
Questions or comments from Mr. Hayes? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You have heard the presentations of several people, and they're all listed in our booklets. And we need one motion for the approval of all of those consent items, if that's your desire.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent item as presented.
Second motion.
It has been motioned and second for the approval of all of the consent items that have been presented this evening and are in our board book. You've heard that motion and second. Any further questions on readiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Thank you all for your presentations this evening. We appreciate that. Good work, good work. Carry on. 8.1B, items for action. Ms. Sykes?
Good evening, Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, other members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Bridges. I'm here tonight to request approval of a contract amendment with Kids Speak. It's an increase of $32,000. So it's going from $70,000 to $102,000. I think I've shared this before. It's been really hard to keep related service providers. But I do pride us in, we're probably one of the surrounding districts that has the least amount of contract providers. But this contract has been with us for a while, and I have begged her to come from 3 days to 4 days with us, and I'm trying to get her 5 days next year. So we are short 2 speech therapists this year. So we had to hire 2 speech therapy assistants. And so that has warranted her to come on an additional day. She supervises them. So that means they can provide the services, but she has to do their paperwork and their IEPs.
Questions or comments from Mrs. Sykes? Hearing none, do we hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the contract between the Edgecombe County Board of Education and Kids Speak Incorporated for speech language pathology services for the 22-23 school year.
Second.
Has been motion and second for the approval of the contract addendum presented by Mrs. Sykes for the 22-23 school year. You've heard that motion second. Any further discussion, questions, or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by using the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Thank you, Mrs. Sykes. 8-2B, Mr. Carlson.
8-2B and 8-3B and 8-4B.
All right, that's what he showing us.
I come before you seeking approval between Edgecombe, I'm sorry, please, board chair, board members. I come before you seeking approval between Edgecombe County Public Schools and Toshiba Business Solution for copier, document scanning, and fax machine for a term of 5 years beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30, 2028.
Questions or comments for Mr. Carlson? Hearing none, do we hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the copy maintenance agreement between Edgecombe County Public Schools and Toshiba Business Solutions for copiers, document scanning, and fax machines for a term of 5 years, beginning July 1, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2028.
It has been motion and second by Johnson. You've heard that motion and second for the approval of 8.2, the copy management agreement. Any questions, comments, or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, I'll need a sec, those in favor, let it be known by using the voting sign aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Like sign?
Ayes have it, and that motion carried. All right, Mr. Carlton, you're still up, 8-3.
I come before you seeking approval for contract between Edgecombe County Board of Education and Superior Mechanical Service for Tarver High School, the chiller replacement in the amount of $400,950.
Any questions or comments of Mr. Carlton? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the contract between Edgecombe County Board of Education and Superior Mechanical Services for Tarver High School chiller replacement in the amount of $419,950.
Motion and second, Worcester. You've heard that motion and second for the approval of 8.3B. You've heard that motion and second. Any further questions or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Mr. Carlton, you're still up, 8-4.
Okay. I come before you seeking approval between the Edgecombe County Board of Education and Superior Mechanical Service for the Stops Elementary School chiller replacement in the amount of $249,500.
You've heard that presentation. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, do we hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract between Edgecombe County Board of Education and Superior Mechanical Services for the Stops Elementary School chiller replacement in the amount of $249,500.
Second. Motion and second. You've heard that motion and second for the approval of 8.4B as presented. You've heard that motion and second. Any further questions or comments or unreadiness? Hearing none. Those in favor, let it be known by using the voting sign aye. Aye. Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Carlton. 8.5B. That's bigger.
Good evening again. Before we jump into the last four, these are federal funded sole source, and working with Ms. Howe, we did talk about giving the board kind of a heads up, and we are going to present information at the next board meeting. You may begin to see more sole source requests from federal funds. North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, the Office of Business and Finance, just recently changed the process, typically 10,000 and 90,000. If we do not do the 3 quotes for procurement, we can submit a waiver, and that process has changed now. And we are in consultation with the HERD group on our internal policy for that, but they are putting some of that on the district to be able to give approval through sole source. And so that's why these four are before you tonight, and you may begin to see more. Again, we will do an item for information. Hopefully, we'll have it ready by the next board meeting through consultation with them. But we wanted to give you that heads up because we knew this was probably unusual for you to see.
That's exactly right.
All right, so this evening I come before you to request a sole source service from Longview Learning LLC for West Edgecombe Middle School with funds provided by PRC 050, which is Title I funds. Longview will provide on-site professional development for teachers implementing math routines and instructional practices aligned with the number lab approach to mathematics at West Edgecombe. We are seeking sole source due to their highly specialized services, and they have created the numbers lab approach. So they are the only company that can provide that professional development support for the numbers lab approach to instruction. And so our recommendation is that the board approves the sole source for Longview to provide professional development for mathematics instruction services in the amount of $19,000 to West Edgecombe Middle School with the funds provided by PRC 050 Title I.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, do we hear a motion?
Make a motion for approval of professional development and mathematics instruction services at West Edgecombe Middle School provided by Longview Learning as a sole source in the amount of $19,000 using Title I funds. Second.
Motion and second for the approval of 8.5B, professional development for math instruction services as presented. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion, questions, or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. And you're still up.
This is my last for tonight. I've come before you tonight to request sole source services from Educational Consulting of North Raleigh Kumon Learning Center. We spoke previously about the Kumon work occurring at Princeville, and just a little bit of background context. The board did approve for us to do Kumon math strategies through our PRC 189 application. Although it was initially approved by the Department of Public Instruction, this strategy for the use and how we were implementing it, due to a recent updates in accordance with federal and state policy legislation, we can no longer use PRC 189. We initially had a waiver from the Office of Business and Finance for Kumon. So we've had to shift this to our PRC 181, which means we need a new waiver for sole source. And since they've changed the policy, we have to come before you tonight to get the approval to use the sole source for the PRC 189 funds. So our recommendation for this evening is that the board approves sole source for Educational Consulting of North Raleigh Kumon Learning Center with funds provided by ESSER 3 PRC 181 in the amount of $71,675.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the Kumon Math Instruction Services provided by Educational Consultant of North Raleigh Kumon Learning Center as a sole source in the amount of $71,675 using ESSER 3 funds, PRC 181.
Second.
Motion and second for the approval of 8.6B, Kumon Math Instruction Services as provided, as presented. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Pierce, for keeping us out of trouble. 8.7B, that's his battle, or is that Dr. Battle? Dr. Battle, sorry.
Good evening, Board Chair, Vice Chair, Superintendent Dr. Bridges, and board members. Tonight, I'm before you for yet another sole source item. I'm seeking the approval of sole source for Panorama Education. ECPS currently uses Panorama as our platform for our social emotional learning surveys for our students, staff, families, and community. We've been working with them for several years, I believe 4 years now. And Panorama gives us all of our information. We have all of our previous surveys housed with them. If we go to somebody else, we're not really sure anybody else that offers this, but if we went to somebody else, we'd lose all of that rich data and processes that we already have in place. We get great responses from our students and our staff. And this year we got some good responses from our families as well. So we'd like to continue using them. So tonight I'm seeking approval for sole source using Student Support Academic Enrichment PRC Grant 108 in the amount of $26,375.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, do we hear a motion?
I make a motion for approval of Panorama Education Platform licensing services provided by Panorama Education as a sole source in the amount of $26,375 using SSAE PRC 108 funds.
Second.
Motion and second for the approval of Panorama Educational Platform License and Services as presented. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Thank you, Dr. Bell. Oh, you got another?
Yeah, I got another one.
You have, okay, your people are working.
We are so fortunate to have so many tools to help support the resilience of our students and staff. Tonight, I'm also asking for a sole source approval for the Committee of Children, who provides us our Second Step platform for our social and emotional learning curriculum for our middle schools. It's used in all of our middle schools. Our middle school team voted and they asked to keep this. We're currently in a lull while we wait for this, and they keep emailing, when can we use it again? So we're asking if you will approve sole source for Committee for Children for funds provided by the SSAE Grant PRC 108 in the amount of $10,780.79.
Okay, questions or comments? Hearing none, do we hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve the Second Step Platform license and services provided by Committee for Children as a sole source in the amount of $10,780.79 using the SSAE PRC 108 fund.
Motion and second for the approval of 8.8B, Second Step Platform License and Services as presented. You've heard that motion and second. Any questions, comments, or unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by the using the voting sign aye. Aye. Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. All right, now with a deep breath. Evan, will you take us into closed session, please?
Dr. Johnson, before taking us into closed session, could I have the four principals who presented tonight to just stand and be recognized again? Yeah. You did a great job.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Now, you'll take us into closed session.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion under the North Carolina Open Meeting Law, Section 143, 318.11, A1, A3, and A6, to go into closed session to consider personnel matters, to consult with attorney to preserve attorney-client privileged information, and to prevent the disclosure of student records rendered confidential under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, 20 USC 1232G, and the disclosure of personnel records rendered confidential under GS 115C-319 through 321.
Second.
Second.
It has been motion and second for us to go into closed session as presented and read by Dr. Johnson. You've heard that motion and second. Any further question for unreadiness? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. We'll take 5.
I'll take any senior discount I can get.
They ready? There's nothing up here, does that matter? You were ready.
Okay.
No, I got what you did. Okay, all right. Okay, we're back in open session now. Item 10.1, personnel management. I need a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for the approval of the personnel management discussed in closed session. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. 10.1.2, extracurricular activities for the spring sports. Need a motion.
I make a motion to approve our extracurricular activities for spring sports.
A second.
Motion and second by Johnson.
Does that need to be as amended since they changed the coach from softball to baseball?
I didn't hear you.
Doesn't need to be amended.
Need to be amended.
Okay, yeah, with the baseball to softball and
As amended.
add amended.
Second.
You take that. All right, you've heard that the amendment to the motion. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. Closed session minutes. Anybody see anything there? Go ahead.
I make a motion, we approve the closed session minutes.
Motion second for the approval of the closed session minutes. You've heard that motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers like sign. Ayes have it, and that motion carried. All right, 11, board correspondence.
I have one piece that I'd share with you. Got an email from Eric Evans. They're trying to plan the annual joint meeting. He has suggested May 4th. At the same time as last year, we have dinner at 6, the meeting at 7. The 4th is on a Thursday. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Evans and see if there's either, I don't know if you all want to, if you prefer to go into April or if you prefer to go further into May. Do you all have a preference? And the only reason why the 4th, I have a question mark on my calendar is state board planning work session. I need to check and see when that's over, but if that is a meeting, that'll be hard coming from Raleigh.
All right, let's do another date.
Do you all have a preference? What direction? You want to check your calendars for, either earlier that week or later in April, like at the end of the month, or would you prefer to go? I don't know how much further into May we need to go.
Yeah, what about April 27th?
I want to check here.
Yeah, Brian. Check on that.
I'll ask them for April 27th. Let's see if that works.
They usually start at what time?
Usually do dinner at 6 and then the meetings at 7. If we try to be committed to we're about an hour 15, hour 20. Pared it down from the past.
That would give you plenty of time to have the budget ready.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Yeah, one other thing. Well, this maybe goes under 12 items. Mr. Ellis shared that having some recognition of Sandra Langley, she will be retiring. The most winningest coach, high school basketball coach in North Carolina. So I think it'd be great if we did that. I had originally said maybe in March. I don't know if you all want to do it along with our other celebrations in May, where there'd be a little bit more turnout, or if you prefer to stick to March and keep her separate. Any preference there?
And first, let's drop it down to 12 and then to other items.
Okay, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, let's drop it to 12.
Okay, okay.
Then we can discuss it.
Okay.
All right, I think we'd get a lot of bang for our buck if we did it with the big celebration.
I do too.
Okay.
Because I'd like there to be, and I imagine if it was advertised correctly, we could get a big attendance from her.
Yeah, 'cause that's a big.
Everything tomorrow, 10:30 to 12:30 will be at central office, at a training scene.
I sent everyone an article. It's in your email. Some of you may have heard me talking about it, but I just thought I would mention it. I read an article last week about the number of students out of 21 states, there's like 240,000 students who did not return back to public school. They didn't go to charter schools. They did not go to private schools. They're just not in school. I think it's a serious topic. And I sent up a note to Dr. B last week and said, what do our numbers look like? Because I know if they leave us and go somewhere else, we're normally aware of it. But, I'm just curious about our community and what can we do to potentially look for students. I'm not as worried about 12th graders as I am our younger students that may not be attending any school. And we don't have the old-fashioned truant officers that go around like they did in the cartoons looking for people. But, I just think if there's something we can do to find people that need to get back in school, that we make that a priority.
That's a real concern.
So we do have several, we didn't feel that we have that big concern as the article suggested, but I will share more with you all. Dr. Battle, Mr. Holland, and a few others are looking at our data and assuring that that's not the case, but also looking into if we do have any students in any schools that have been confirmed and give you some updates, and I'll share that with you.
There may be strategies we can come up with that can, even if it's one, that one is important.
Absolutely.
And we do have some such things, so we need to come back.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Just out and about.
Just out. Anybody else? Anything else? That's great. That's a real concern. I saw that article. All right. If there's anything else claim our attention, Doc, you want to tell them about tomorrow at our.
Sure. So, Mr. Evans reached out and wants to meet with both superintendents, both board chairs, both county commissioner chairs, to begin some second level discussion around the demerger work. And he has created an agenda. It's very similar to the one he has shared with us in the past. At that time, remember, we have started some work around the Edge Academy. And so I will share kind of what we have done so far there and see if there is some appetite for K-8 rather than K-12. And if it's K-8, then also offer to see if they're interested in the Edge Academy, or their students could apply if that's something that they'd be willing to do. I think Mr. Evans is going to give some details around funding and money and the number of students and some of the cost. And so we're trying to work on what that could look like as far as if they say, yes, we wouldn't have a problem with our rising 9th and 10th graders being able to apply to the Edge Academy. But then what does that look like for funding? Because what happens is in the summer, he would need to put in their budget that they're not going to send that money there. That triggers it. If they keep sending the money, even if we voted, it doesn't change it. You could say, yes, we voted and we'll wait until we're ready for this to happen. It's supposed to happen fall of 2024, which means this budget cycle, he would indicate not sending money forward. So we'll meet tomorrow, I think from 2 to 3:30, to kind of talk through things and hopefully we'll get a little more information and see if they have an appetite for students being able to apply. Now, because they apply for Edge Academy, doesn't mean they get in. They're applying. The applications are done. We have, we're working on a presentation for our board so that you all can see kind of the work that we've done. But we started that since we've been meeting, just keeping each department having slides to share where we are. When we went over to look at the building, I think it's a great space. They have a lot of staffing folks that are excited about our kids coming. But we want to make sure, of course, we want to be fair to our kids and make sure they have space, but we also want to offer, if they're interested, that they can apply. And that's kind of where we are.
Should be an interesting meeting.
Yeah.
Just don't let them push us around.